Welcome to a world of dreams, where magic whispers through the night. Tonight, we journey to the tranquil kingdom of Florindale, where a brave princess named Arwen seeks to heal her land. As you close your eyes and drift into slumber, let the enchanting tale of courage and hope guide you into a peaceful sleep. Relax, breathe deeply, and let the story unfold. Chapter 1. The Princess and the Lotus. In the tranquil kingdom of Florindale, nestled between emerald hills and crystal-clear rivers, a shadow had fallen. Once vibrant fields now lay barren, their crops wilting under a mysterious blight. The air, once filled with the sweet songs of birds and the laughter of children, was now heavy with worry and despair. Princess Arwen, with her golden hair and emerald eyes, stood at the castle balcony, gazing upon her ailing land. Her heart ached for her people, and for her father, King Auric, who lay bedridden, his strength sapped by an unknown illness. The royal advisors, wise men with furrowed brows and ancient tomes, were at a loss. They had tried every remedy, every incantation, yet nothing seemed to lift the dark curse that had befallen Florindale. Arwen, known throughout the kingdom for her compassion and determination, felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility. She knew she had to find a solution, even if it meant venturing beyond the safety of the castle walls. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the land, Arwen sought solace in the royal garden. This garden, a place of enchantment and tranquility, had been her sanctuary since childhood. She walked among the blooming flowers and ancient trees, their leaves whispering secrets in the gentle breeze. As she wandered deeper into the garden, she found herself drawn to a secluded pond where water lilies floated gracefully on the surface. It was here, among the delicate blooms, that Arwen first heard the whisper. It was a soft, melodic sound, almost like a lullaby carried by the wind. She followed the sound to the edge of the pond and gasped in amazement. Before her, in the center of a cluster of lily pads, was a lotus flower of unparalleled beauty. Its petals shimmered with an ethereal light, and as Arwen leaned closer, she realized that the flower was speaking. "Princess Arwen," the lotus whispered, its voice like a gentle ripple across the water. "I am the whispering lotus, guardian of ancient wisdom. Your kingdom's plight has reached my ears, and I offer you my guidance." Arwen, though startled, felt a glimmer of hope. "What must I do to save my kingdom?" she asked, her voice trembling with urgency. The lotus's petals quivered, and it spoke again. "There exists an ancient artifact, hidden away for centuries, that holds the power to heal your land and restore your father's health. To find it, you must embark on a journey and solve the riddles I present to you." Arwen's heart raced. A journey filled with riddles and unknown dangers lay before her. But she knew she had no choice. For the sake of her people and her beloved father, she would face whatever challenges awaited. "I accept your guidance, Whispering Lotus," she declared, her voice steady with resolve. The lotus seemed to glow brighter at her words. "Then listen closely, Princess. Your first riddle is this. In the castle's heart where shadows play, a hidden path will light your way. Seek the chamber where time stands still, and find the key to your first trial." Arwen repeated the riddle in her mind, pondering its meaning. A hidden path within the castle, a chamber where time stands still. She had to decipher these clues to begin her quest. She thanked the lotus and hurried back to the castle, her mind racing with possibilities. The fate of Florindale depended on her, and she was determined not to fail. As night fell, the castle seemed to hum with a newfound energy. Arwen, armed with the lotus's riddle and a heart full of hope, began her search for the hidden path, unaware of the incredible journey that lay ahead. Princess Arwen's heart pounded with urgency and excitement as she returned to the castle. The riddle from the Whispering Lotus played over and over in her mind. In the castle's heart where shadows play, a hidden path will light your way. Seek the chamber where time stands still, and find the key to your first trial. The words seemed to echo through the grand hallways of the castle, intertwining with the flickering candlelight and the distant toll of the castle bell marking the hour. Determined to decipher the riddle, Arwen made her way to the castle's library, a vast room filled with ancient texts and scrolls. The library had always been a place of knowledge and comfort for her, and she hoped it would now provide the clues she needed. She lit a lantern and began searching through the shelves, pulling out books on the castle's history and architecture. As she read, Arwen recalled the legends of secret passages within the castle, hidden corridors used by her ancestors during times of war and intrigue. One legend spoke of a chamber where time seemed to stand still, a room untouched by the passage of years. Her pulse quickened. This had to be the place mentioned in the riddle. Arwen spent hours poring over maps and old journals, looking for any reference to such a chamber. Finally, she came across a faded manuscript that mentioned a room of eternal stillness, said to be located in the heart of the castle. According to the manuscript, this room could be accessed through a hidden door behind the throne in the Great Hall. With newfound determination, Arwen made her way to the Great Hall. The moonlight streamed through the tall windows, casting long shadows that danced across the floor. She approached the grand throne, her fingers brushing over the intricate carvings of dragons and lilies. Kneeling down, she felt along the base of the throne, searching for any sign of a hidden mechanism. After a few tense moments, her fingers found a small, concealed latch. Holding her breath, she pulled it. With a soft click, a portion of the wall behind the throne slid open, revealing a narrow, dimly lit passage. Arwen's heart leapt with triumph. She took a deep breath and stepped into the passage, the stone walls cold and silent around her. The passageway seemed to spiral downward, deeper into the heart of the castle. Arwen followed it carefully, her lantern casting eerie shadows on the walls. After what felt like an eternity, she arrived at a heavy wooden door adorned with ancient runes. Taking a moment to steady herself, she pushed the door open. Beyond it lay the room of eternal stillness, just as the manuscript had described. It was a small circular chamber with a high dome ceiling. The air was cool and still, and an otherworldly calm pervaded the space. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, upon which rested a small ornate key. Arwen approached it reverently, her footsteps echoing in the silence. As she reached out to take the key, she noticed an inscription carved into the pedestal. The first trial begins when the key is turned. The path to salvation lies within. She carefully took the key, its metal cool against her skin. With a deep breath, she turned and left the chamber, retracing her steps back to the great hall. Emerging from the passage, Arwen felt a surge of hope. She had completed the first task, set by the whispering Lotus. With the key in hand, she knew her journey was only beginning. As she stood in the moonlit hall, she could almost hear the Lotus's whisper guiding her onward. The path ahead was uncertain, but Arwen was resolved to see it through. For the sake of her kingdom, she would unlock every mystery, solve every riddle, and overcome every obstacle that lay in her way. With the key safely tucked away, Arwen made her way to her chambers to rest. Tomorrow, she would continue her quest, venturing beyond the castle walls into the unknown. The whispering Lotus had given her hope, and with each step she took, she felt the weight of destiny upon her shoulders. The fate of Florindale rested in her hands, and she would not fail. As dawn broke over the kingdom of Florindale, the first rays of sunlight spilled through the castle windows, casting a warm glow across Princess Arwen's chambers. She awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. The weight of the key she had discovered still pressing gently against her palm. The riddle of the whispering Lotus echoed in her mind, guiding her thoughts as she prepared for the next steps of her journey. After a quick breakfast, Arwen made her way to the enchanted garden once more, eager to consult the whispering Lotus about the next part of her quest. The garden, with its lush greenery and vibrant blooms, was a stark contrast to the withering fields beyond the castle walls. It seemed as though the magic within this sanctuary had remained untouched by the blight affecting the rest of the kingdom. The Lotus awaited her by the pond, its petals shimmering with an ethereal light. As Arwen approached, the flower's soft, melodic voice greeted her. "Welcome back, Princess Arwen," it whispered. "You have found the key and proven your resolve. Now it is time for your first trial." Arwen nodded, her eyes fixed on the lotus. "I am ready," she said with determination. The lotus's petals fluttered gently as it began to speak. "Listen carefully to the riddle, for it will guide you to the next step of your journey. Here it is. Where the forest echoes and the shadows play, a path of light will guide your way. Seek the glade where the guardian roams, and find the wisdom carved in stones." Arwen repeated the riddle to herself, her mind racing to decipher its meaning. The forest mentioned could only be the enchanted forest, a mystical place known for its ancient magic and hidden secrets. The mention of a guardian and carved stones gave her a clue about her destination, a glade within the forest, where she would find another piece of the puzzle. "Thank you, Whispering Lotus," Arwen said, bowing her head in gratitude. "I will seek the glade and the guardian you speak of." With the riddle fresh in her mind, Arwen set out towards the enchanted forest, her loyal fox companion Aryan trotting by her side. The forest lay just beyond the castle grounds, a vast expanse of towering trees and winding paths. As she entered the forest, the air grew cooler, and the sounds of the castle faded away, replaced by the rustling of leaves and the distant calls of woodland creatures. Arwen followed the path deeper into the forest, guided by the dappled sunlight filtering through the canopy above. The forest seemed to come alive around her, the trees whispering secrets and the shadows dancing playfully. She felt a sense of wonder and anticipation, knowing that she was getting closer to her goal. As she walked, Arwen noticed the forest growing denser, the underbrush thicker, and the trees older. The path became less distinct, and she relied on her instincts and the clues from the riddle to guide her. Soon she came upon a clearing bathed in soft golden light, the glade mentioned in the riddle. In the center of the glade stood a majestic stag, its antlers adorned with silver vines that glimmered in the sunlight. The stag's eyes, wise and knowing, met Arwen's, and she knew she had found the guardian of the glade. "Welcome, Princess Arwen," the stag said, its voice deep and resonant. "I am the guardian of the glade, and I have been expecting you." Arwen bowed respectfully. "Guardian, I seek the wisdom carved in stones. Can you guide me?" The stag nodded and gestured with its antlers towards a cluster of ancient stones arranged in a circle at the edge of the glade. Each stone was inscribed with intricate runes and symbols, glowing faintly with an inner light. "These stones hold the wisdom you seek," the guardian said. "But first, you must solve the riddle they present. Only then will you receive the guidance you need for the next part of your journey." Arwen approached the stones, her heart pounding with anticipation. She knew that the next trial lay within these ancient carvings, and she was ready to unlock their secrets. With the guidance of the Whispering Lotus and the wisdom of the guardian of the glade, she felt confident that she would succeed in her quest to save her kingdom. Princess Arwen stood before the ancient stones, their surfaces etched with symbols that seemed to pulse with a faint magical light. The guardian of the glade watched silently, its majestic presence a comforting reminder that she was not alone on this journey. As she examined the runes, Arwen felt a connection to the ancient magic that had shaped her kingdom and protected it for centuries. Arwen took a deep breath and began to study the symbols more closely. They formed a complex pattern, each rune telling a story or imparting wisdom from ages past. The runes seemed to whisper to her, their meanings slowly unraveling in her mind. Among the symbols, she found one that stood out, a depiction of a sun and moon entwined, representing the balance of day and night. She remembered the Lotus's riddle, where the forest echoes and the shadows play, a path of light will guide your way. The balance of light and shadow was key. She traced her fingers over the sun and moon symbol, feeling a gentle warmth emanate from it. The stone beneath her touch began to glow brighter, and a soft hum filled the air. The guardian's deep voice broke the silence. "You have found the key, Princess Arwen. Now, speak the words of wisdom that align with the balance you seek." Arwen thought back to her studies, to the teachings of her tutors and the stories passed down through generations. She recalled a passage about the harmony of opposites, a lesson her mother had once shared with her. In the balance of light and dark, we find our true strength. With clear conviction, Arwen spoke the words aloud. In the balance of light and dark, we find our true strength. The ground beneath her feet began to tremble slightly, and the stones pulsed with a radiant light. The symbols on the stones rearranged themselves, forming a new pattern that pointed towards a path leading deeper into the forest. Arwen felt a surge of excitement and determination. She was on the right track. The guardian nodded approvingly. "You have done well, Princess. Follow the illuminated path, and it will lead you to the Forest of Echoes, where the next step of your journey awaits." Arwen thanked the guardian and set off along the glowing path, Arian trotting faithfully by her side. The enchanted forest around them seemed to shift and change, the trees whispering secrets and the air humming with magic. As they ventured deeper, the forest grew darker, the canopy overhead thickening to block out much of the sunlight. The path led them to a dense thicket, where the sounds of the forest seemed to amplify and echo around them. Arwen realized they had entered the Forest of Echoes, a place where the past and present intertwined, and where memories lingered like shadows. The air was thick with whispers, and Arwen felt a chill run down her spine. Determined to stay on course, she pressed forward, guided by the glowing path. The echoes around her grew louder, forming a cacophony of voices that seemed to be telling her stories of the past. She heard snippets of conversations, laughter, and even cries of sorrow. It was as if the forest held the collective memory of all who had ever walked its paths. At the heart of the forest of echoes, Arwen came upon a clearing where the trees stood tall and still, their branches entwined to form a natural archway. In the center of the clearing stood a stone pedestal, similar to the one she had seen in the Room of Eternal Stillness. Upon the pedestal lay a silver amulet, its surface engraved with intricate designs. Arwen approached the pedestal, the whispers of the forest growing softer as she drew near. She reached out and took the amulet, feeling a surge of warmth and energy flow through her. The amulet seemed to hum with power, resonating with the magic of the forest and the wisdom of the ancient runes. As she held the amulet, Arwen knew she had found another crucial piece of her quest. The amulet would guide her to the next part of her journey, and with it, she felt a renewed sense of hope and purpose. She turned to leave the clearing, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. With the path now clear and the amulet in hand, Arwen felt the call of destiny drawing her ever closer to the artifact that could save her kingdom. Princess Arwen clutched the silver amulet, its weight a comforting reminder of her progress and the wisdom she had gained. The whispers of the forest of echoes seemed to quiet as she walked, their cacophony replaced by a serene silence that enveloped her. The glowing path ahead remained steadfast, guiding her deeper into the heart of the forest. Arwen trotted beside her, his keen eyes scanning their surroundings for any signs of danger. The fox's presence was a steadying force, a reminder of the loyalty and companionship that had always been a part of her life. Together they navigated the winding trail, the canopy above growing thicker and the shadows deeper. The path eventually led them to a wide, ancient tree, with bark that shimmered like silver in the dim light. Arwen felt a sense of reverence as she approached it, knowing that this tree held great significance. The tree's roots spread out in a complex network, forming a natural labyrinth at its base. Arwen paused, studying the intricate patterns of the roots, and noticed symbols carved into the bark that resembled the runes she had seen earlier. She knelt down to examine the carvings, tracing her fingers over them. The runes seemed to respond to her touch, glowing softly. Arwen realized that these symbols formed another riddle, a clue to her next challenge. She whispered the riddle to herself, feeling the magic of the forest infuse her words. In the heart of the ancient tree, the past and future intertwine. Find the light that leads the way, where shadows cannot shine. Arwen stood and stepped back, contemplating the riddle. She looked up at the tree's towering form, noting how its branches twisted and turned, creating pockets of light and shadow. The answer she knew. lay somewhere within the interplay of these elements. She circled the tree, observing how the light filtered through the leaves, casting patterns on the forest floor. As she walked, she noticed a narrow opening among the roots, just large enough for her to slip through. The light seemed to dance around this entrance, as if beckoning her forward. Arwen took a deep breath, and with Aryan close behind, crawled into the hollow. Inside, the air was cool and still. The tunnel was illuminated by a soft, otherworldly glow, and Arwen felt a sense of calm wash over her. She followed the light, moving deeper into the heart of the ancient tree. The tunnel twisted and turned much like the branches above, and Arwen marveled at the craftsmanship of nature. At last, the tunnel opened into a spacious chamber within the tree. The walls were lined with shimmering bark, and in the center of the room stood a small pedestal made of intertwined roots. Upon it rested a crystal orb, radiating a gentle, pulsating light. Arwen approached the orb with reverence, understanding that this was the light mentioned in the riddle. She reached out and placed her hand on it, feeling a surge of warmth and energy flow through her. The orb responded to her touch, its light intensifying and casting away the shadows in the chamber. As the light filled the room, Arwen noticed inscriptions appearing on the walls, written in the same ancient runes. She read them aloud, the words resonating with a deep magical power. Only in the light can truth be seen, and only in the truth can we find our path. The room seemed to hum with energy, and Arwen felt a profound sense of understanding. She knew that the light and truth were guiding principles on her journey, illuminating the way forward and dispelling the darkness that threatened her kingdom. With the crystal orb in hand, Arwen exited the chamber and emerged back into the forest. The path ahead was clearer now, the shadows less daunting. She knew that the next step of her journey would take her to the guardian of the glade, where she would receive another riddle and continue her quest. The forest of echoes had tested her resolve and imparted its wisdom, and Arwen felt more determined than ever. With the silver amulet around her neck and the crystal orb in her hand, she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The fate of Florindale depended on her, and she would not falter. The path through the enchanted forest seemed less ominous now, as if the wisdom gained from the forest of echoes had infused Arwen with a new sense of clarity. The air was cool and filled with the scent of pine and moss. The crystal orb glowed softly in her hand, its light guiding her and dispelling any lingering shadows. Arian trotted beside her, his eyes alert and ears perked. Together, they moved deeper into the forest, following the faint whispers of the wind that seemed to carry messages from the whispering Lotus. Arwen felt a deep connection to the land, its ancient magic intertwining with her own destiny. As they walked, the forest began to change. The trees grew taller and more ancient, their trunks thick with age and wisdom. The canopy above was dense, but beams of sunlight pierced through, creating a mesmerizing pattern of light and shadow on the forest floor. Arwen knew she was approaching the heart of the forest, where the guardian of the glade awaited. Finally, they emerged into a large circular glade bathed in golden light. The sight took Arwen's breath away. The glade was a sanctuary of beauty and serenity, with wildflowers blooming in every color imaginable and a small crystal-clear stream winding through it. In the center stood the majestic stag, the guardian of the glade, its antlers adorned with silver vines that seemed to shimmer with their own light. "Welcome back, Princess Arwen," the stag said, its voice deep and resonant. "You have done well to come this far. The forest has whispered of your bravery and determination." Arwen bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Guardian. I seek your guidance for the next step of my journey." The stag nodded, its eyes reflecting ancient wisdom. "The crystal orb you carry is a beacon of truth and light. It will aid you in your quest. But first, you must solve one final riddle here in the glade." The stag gestured with its antlers toward a circle of standing stones at the edge of the glade. These stones, taller and more imposing than the ones Arwen had seen before, were covered in intricate carvings that glowed faintly in the sunlight. Each stone represented a different element of nature: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. Arwen approached the circle of stones, her heart filled with anticipation. The guardian spoke again, its voice gentle yet commanding. "To unlock the path forward, you must understand the balance of these elements and the harmony they create. Here is your riddle. When earth meets sky and flame meets sea, the spirit's light will set you free. Seek the balance in their dance and find the way with a second glance." Arwen pondered the riddle, examining the stones and the elements they represented. She understood that she needed to find the balance and harmony among the elements to reveal the path. She walked around the circle, touching each stone in turn and feeling the unique energy it emitted. As she touched the stone representing earth, she felt a deep, grounding energy. The stone for air was light and uplifting. Fire was warm and fierce, water was cool and calming, and spirit was ethereal and transcendent. Arwen closed her eyes, allowing herself to feel the interplay of these energies and how they complemented each other. "In the balance of these elements lies the truth," she whispered to herself. She positioned herself in the center of the circle, holding the crystal orb high. She focused on the harmony of the elements, envisioning them dancing together in perfect balance. As she did, the orb's light intensified, casting brilliant beams that connected each stone. The standing stones began to hum with energy, their carvings glowing brighter. Arwen felt a surge of power and understanding. She spoke aloud the words of the riddle, her voice resonating with the magic of the glade. When earth meets sky and flame meets sea, the spirit's light will set you free. The light from the orb and the stones merged, creating a radiant pillar of light that shot up into the sky. The ground beneath Arwen's feet trembled slightly, and a hidden path revealed itself, leading out of the glade and into the depths of the forest. The guardian of the glade watched her with approval. "You have found the balance, Princess Arwen. This path will lead you to the Whispering Wind and the next chapter of your journey. Carry the light and truth with you, and remember the harmony you have discovered here." Arwen thanked the guardian, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment and readiness for the trials ahead. With Arion by her side and the crystal orb glowing with the light of the elements, she stepped onto the newly revealed path. The journey was far from over, but with each step, she grew closer to saving her kingdom and fulfilling her destiny. Chapter 2: The Quest for the Ancient Artifact. As Princess Arwen and Arion ventured along the newly revealed path, the air around them began to change. The breeze carried a gentle, melodic whisper that seemed to weave through the trees and dance along the path. Arwen knew they were approaching the realm of the Whispering Wind, a place where the air itself held ancient secrets and timeless wisdom. The path led them to a clearing where the trees parted to reveal a wide expanse of open sky. Here, the wind played among the branches and rustled the leaves in a symphony of sound. Arwen felt a sense of awe as she stood at the edge of the clearing, listening to the wind's whispers. It was as if the very air was alive with the stories and songs of ages past. As she stepped into the clearing, the wind swirled around her, carrying a voice that was both familiar and otherworldly. "Welcome, Princess Arwen," the Whispering Wind spoke, his tone soft and harmonious. "You have journeyed far and shown great courage. I am here to guide you to the Bridge of Dreams. But first, you must understand the message I bring." Arwen closed her eyes, allowing the wind to envelop her. The whispers grew clearer, forming words and phrases that filled her mind with images and sensations. She saw visions of her kingdom, the blight that plagued it, and the artifact she sought to restore balance. The wind's voice wove these visions together, creating a tapestry of meaning that resonated deeply within her. "The Bridge of Dreams lies ahead," the wind whispered. "It is a place where reality and dreams intertwine, where the past and future converge. To cross it, you must embrace your deepest fears and desires and allow them to guide you. Listen to the wind, and it will show you the way." Arwen opened her eyes, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. She knew that the journey across the Bridge of Dreams would be a test of her inner strength and resolve. With the wind's guidance, she and Arion continued along the path, following the whispering currents that led them deeper into the forest. The trees around them began to thin, and the air grew cooler. they arrived at a shimmering, ethereal bridge that spanned a wide chasm. The Bridge of Dreams was unlike anything Arwen had ever seen, its surface appearing both solid and insubstantial, like a pathway woven from moonlight and mist. As they approached, the wind's whispers intensified, urging her forward. Arwen stepped onto the bridge, feeling a strange, weightless sensation, as if she were walking on air. The bridge swayed gently beneath her feet, and she took each step with care, focusing on the wind's guidance. Arion followed closely, his presence a comforting anchor in this dreamlike realm. As they walked, the scenery around them shifted and changed. Arwen saw visions of her childhood, memories of her family, and moments of joy and sorrow that had shaped her life. The bridge seemed to reflect her innermost thoughts and emotions, creating a surreal journey through her own psyche. At the midpoint of the bridge, the wind whispered a new riddle. In dreams, truth is revealed, and fears are faced. To find the path ahead, you must embrace what you seek and what you fear most. Arwen pondered the riddle, understanding that the journey across the Bridge of Dreams was not just a physical crossing, but an exploration of her own heart and mind. She thought of her kingdom, her father, and the people she loved. She also acknowledged her fears, the fear of failure, the fear of losing those she held dear, and the fear of not being strong enough to save her kingdom. Taking a deep breath, Arwen closed her eyes and let her thoughts and emotions flow freely. She embraced her hopes and dreams, as well as her fears and doubts, allowing them to coexist within her. As she did, the bridge beneath her feet grew more solid and stable, its shimmering surface becoming clearer and more defined. The wind's whispers grew softer, and Arwen felt a sense of peace and clarity. She had faced her inner turmoil and found the strength to continue. With renewed determination, she opened her eyes and saw the far end of the bridge drawing near. The path ahead was illuminated by a gentle golden light, guiding her towards the next part of her journey. As she and Arion stepped off the Bridge of Dreams and onto solid ground, Arwen felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The whispers of the wind faded into the background, leaving her with a profound understanding of her own resilience and determination. The quest for the ancient artifact was far from over, but Arwen knew she was one step closer to saving her kingdom. With the Bridge of Dreams behind her and the path ahead illuminated by the light of truth and hope, she pressed onward, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Princess Arwen and Arion stepped off the ethereal Bridge of Dreams, the landscape around them transformed once more. The forest grew denser, and the air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and rich, damp earth. The path ahead wound through tall trees whose branches intertwined overhead, creating a natural canopy that dappled the ground with patterns of light and shadow. Arwen felt a sense of wonder as she walked, each step bringing her closer to the heart of the enchanted forest. She knew that the next trial awaited her, and she was determined to face it with the courage and wisdom she had gained thus far. The crystal orb she carried continued to glow softly, its light guiding her forward. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the sounds of trickling water reached Arwen's ears. She followed the sound until they came upon a serene river, its clear waters flowing gently over smooth stones. The river was crossed by an elegant bridge made of intricately woven vines and flowers. This was the Bridge of Dreams, where reality and dreams intertwined, and where Arwen would face her next trial. The bridge seemed to shimmer in the soft light, and Arwen took a moment to admire its beauty. She felt a sense of calm wash over her as she approached the bridge, knowing that it was a place of great power and significance. She took a deep breath and stepped onto the bridge, feeling the vines and flowers shift beneath her feet. As Arwen walked across the Bridge of Dreams, the world around her began to change. The trees and river faded away, replaced by a dreamlike landscape filled with shifting colors and ethereal shapes. It was a place where reality and dreams merged, and where the boundaries between them blurred. Arwen felt a sense of weightlessness as she moved forward, her steps guided by the soft glow of the crystal orb. The whispers of the wind had faded, replaced by a gentle hum that seemed to resonate with her very soul. She knew that this was a place where her deepest fears and desires would be laid bare, and where she would find the answers she sought. As she walked, Arwen saw visions of her past and future, memories and dreams interwoven in a tapestry of light and shadow. She saw herself as a child, playing in the castle gardens with her father and mother. She saw the kingdom of Florindale, vibrant and flourishing before the blight had taken hold. She saw her people, their faces filled with hope and gratitude as she stood before them as their queen. But she also saw darker visions. Her father lying ill, the fields withering, and the kingdom falling into despair. She saw herself standing alone, unable to save those she loved. These visions filled her with a sense of fear and doubt, but she knew she had to face them to find the strength to continue. At the center of the bridge, Arwen encountered a figure shrouded in mist. The figure was both familiar and strange, its features shifting and changing like the dreams around her. She felt a sense of recognition and understanding as she approached the figure, knowing that it represented a part of herself. "Who are you?" Arwen asked, her voice steady and calm. The figure's voice echoed softly, blending with the hum of the bridge. "I am your reflection, your fears, and your hopes. I am the guardian of the Bridge of Dreams, and I hold the key to your next trial." Arwen nodded, understanding that this was a test of her inner strength and resolve. What must I do to continue my journey? The figure reached out, offering her a small, ornate box. Within this box lies your greatest fear and your deepest desire. To open it, you must confront both with an open heart and a clear mind. Arwen took the box, feeling its weight in her hands. She knew that this was a pivotal moment in her quest, a test of her ability to embrace both the light and the darkness within herself. With a deep breath, she opened the box. Inside, she saw a mirror reflecting her own face. The mirror showed her as she was, strong, determined, and filled with both fear and hope. She understood that her greatest fear was failure, but her deepest desire was to save her kingdom and bring hope to her people. Arwen faced her reflection and spoke aloud, her voice filled with conviction. I accept both my fears and my desires. I will use them to guide me and give me strength. The figure smiled and dissolved into the mist, and the dreamlike landscape began to fade. The bridge of dreams solidified beneath her feet, and the path ahead became clear once more. Arwen felt a profound sense of clarity and purpose as she stepped off the bridge and continued her journey. With the crystal orb glowing brightly in her hand and Arwen by her side, Arwen knew she was ready for whatever lay ahead. The bridge of dreams had tested her resolve and shown her the strength within her heart. Now she was prepared to face the cave of reflections and uncover the secrets that would lead her to the ancient artifact and the salvation of her kingdom. As Princess Arwen and Orion ventured beyond the bridge of dreams, the landscape around them shifted once more. The dense forest gave way to rocky terrain, and the air grew cooler, filled with the crisp scent of mountain pines. They followed a winding path that led upwards, the trail becoming steeper and more challenging with each step. The crystal orb's soft glow provided a steady light, illuminating the path ahead. Arwen's thoughts were filled with the images she had seen on the Bridge of Dreams, visions of her past, her fears, and her hopes. These reflections had given her a deeper understanding of herself and the strength she carried within. Now she felt ready to face the next trial, the Cave of Reflections. The path eventually led them to the entrance of a cavern, its mouth wide and dark, framed by ancient stone pillars carved with intricate runes. Arwen paused for a moment, gathering her resolve. She knew that within this cave she would confront her innermost fears and insecurities. But she also knew that doing so was essential to continue her quest. With Arwen by her side, Arwen stepped into the cave. The air inside was cool and still, and the only sound was the echo of their footsteps on the stone floor. The crystal orb's light reflected off the walls, casting eerie shadows that danced and shifted as they moved deeper into the cavern. As they walked, Arwen noticed that the walls of the cave were lined with mirrors of various shapes and sizes. Each mirror seemed to capture and hold the fragments of light, creating a mesmerizing and disorienting effect. She realized that these mirrors were not ordinary. They were enchanted, designed to show her reflections of herself, both real and distorted. The first mirror Arwen approached showed her a vision of herself as a young girl, full of innocence and wonder. She saw herself playing in the castle gardens, laughing and carefree. The sight brought a smile to her face, reminding her of simpler times before the weight of responsibility had settled on her shoulders. As she continued through the cave, the mirrors began to show darker reflections. In one, she saw herself standing alone in the throne room, the kingdom in ruins around her. Her father lay ill, and her people looked to her with desperation and fear. This reflection filled her with a sense of dread, but she knew she had to face it. "I am stronger than my fears," Arwen whispered to herself, feeling the words resonate within her. "I will not let them control me." The mirrors seemed to react to her words, their surfaces rippling and shifting. Arwen moved on, encountering reflections that showed her insecurities and doubts. She saw herself struggling to make decisions, questioning her own abilities, and feeling overwhelmed by the challenges she faced. Each reflection was a reminder of the doubts that had plagued her since the blight had fallen over Florendale. But Arwen knew that acknowledging these fears was the first step toward overcoming them. She took a deep breath and faced each mirror with determination, refusing to be swayed by the negative images they presented. She reminded herself of the strength she had gained from the whispering Lotus, the guardian of the glade, and the bridge of dreams. Finally, she came upon the largest mirror, its surface smooth and clear. As she stood before it, the mirror showed her a reflection unlike any she had seen before. It was not distorted or dark. Instead, it showed her as she truly was, strong, confident, and filled with a sense of purpose. She saw herself standing tall, the crystal orb in her hand, and Arwen by her side. Behind her, the kingdom of Florendale flourished, its fields green and its people thriving. Tears filled Arwen's eyes as she gazed at this reflection. She knew that this was not just a vision of what could be, but a true representation of her potential. She saw herself as a leader, capable of saving her kingdom and bringing hope to her people. With renewed determination, Arwen reached out and touched the mirror. The surface rippled like water, and a soft, warm light enveloped her. She felt a surge of energy and clarity, as if the mirror had infused her with its strength. The cave around her began to shimmer and fade, and Arwen found herself standing at the entrance once more. The crystal orb glowed brighter than ever, its light guiding her forward. She knew that she had passed the trial of the Cave of Reflections, and that she was one step closer to finding the ancient artifact. With Arwen by her side and the path ahead clear, Arwen set off toward the heart of the mountain, ready to face whatever challenges awaited her. The journey was far from over. but she felt more prepared than ever. The reflections she had seen in the cave had shown her both her fears and her strength, and she was determined to use this newfound understanding to save her kingdom and fulfill her destiny. As Princess Arwen and Arion ventured onward, the forest gradually transformed into rocky terrain, and the path grew steeper and more rugged. They were approaching the heart of the mountain, a place said to be filled with ancient magic and guarded by timeless forces. Arwen's heart pounded with anticipation and determination, knowing that the next trial would bring her closer to saving her kingdom. The air grew cooler as they climbed higher, and the sky above was a brilliant blue, unmarred by clouds. The crystal orb in Arwen's hand continued to glow softly, its light a constant source of guidance and comfort. Arion trotted beside her, his presence a steadying force as they navigated the increasingly challenging terrain. After hours of climbing, they finally reached a plateau. Before them stood the entrance to the heart of the mountain, a massive cavern carved into the rock, its entrance framed by towering stone pillars covered in ancient runes. The runes glowed faintly, hinting at the powerful magic that lay within. Arwen took a deep breath and stepped into the cavern, the air inside cool and still. The sound of dripping water echoed off the stone walls, creating a serene yet eerie atmosphere. The light from the crystal orb illuminated the path ahead, casting long shadows that danced on the walls. As they ventured deeper into the mountain, the cavern opened into a vast chamber filled with glowing gemstones of every color imaginable. The light from the gemstones reflected off the walls, creating a dazzling display of colors that filled the room with a magical ambiance. In the center of the chamber stood an ancient stone altar, its surface covered in intricate carvings. Arwen approached the altar, feeling a sense of reverence and awe. She knew that this was the heart of the mountain, the place where the next trial awaited her. As she examined the carvings on the altar, she noticed a large, ornate keyhole at its center. The key she had found in the room of eternal stillness seemed to vibrate with energy, as if it were eager to fulfill its purpose. With steady hands, Arwen inserted the key into the keyhole and turned it. The ground beneath her feet rumbled softly, and the altar began to glow with a radiant light. A deep, resonant voice echoed through the chamber, filling the air with a sense of ancient wisdom. "Welcome, Princess Arwen," the voice intoned. "I am the keeper of secrets, guardian of the heart of the mountain. You have proven your worth by facing your fears and embracing your inner strength. Now, you must solve the final riddle to unlock the power of the ancient artifact." Arwen stood tall, her heart filled with determination. "I am ready, Keeper of Secrets. Please, tell me the riddle." The voice echoed through the chamber, its tone both wise and enigmatic. In the heart of the mountain Where time stands still, seek the truth with iron will. The past and future, intertwined, reveal the path where light shall shine. Arwen repeated the riddle to herself, pondering its meaning. She looked around the chamber, her eyes scanning the glowing gemstones and the intricate carvings on the walls. She realized that the riddle spoke of the balance between the past and future, much like the lessons she had learned from the whispering Lotus and the reflections she had faced. As she focused on the carvings, she noticed that they depicted scenes from the history of Florendale. Battles fought, alliances forged, and moments of great triumph and sorrow. Among the carvings, she found a symbol that stood out, a depiction of a tree with roots reaching deep into the earth and branches stretching towards the sky. The tree represented the connection between the past and future, the foundation upon which her kingdom was built. Arwen approached the carving of the tree and placed her hand on it. The crystal orb in her other hand glowed brighter, and she felt a surge of energy flow through her. The ground beneath her feet trembled once more, and a hidden passage opened behind the altar, revealing a narrow tunnel illuminated by a warm golden light. "You have found the path, Princess Arwen," the Keeper of Secrets said. "Follow the light, and it will lead you to the ancient artifact. Remember the lessons you have learned and the strength you carry within you." Arwen thanked the Keeper of Secrets and stepped into the tunnel, the golden light guiding her forward. Aryan followed closely, his eyes bright with anticipation. The tunnel wound deeper into the heart of the mountain, and Arwen felt a sense of excitement and purpose with each step. At the end of the tunnel, they emerged into a small circular chamber. In the center of the room stood a pedestal upon which rested a radiant crystal. The crystal pulsated with a powerful, soothing light, and Arwen knew that this was the ancient artifact she had been seeking. With reverence, Arwen approached the pedestal and reached out to take the crystal. As her fingers closed around it, she felt a surge of warmth and energy, a connection to the magic that had shaped her kingdom and protected it for centuries. She knew that with this artifact, she could heal the land and restore her people's hope. With the artifact in hand, Arwen turned to leave the chamber, ready to bring its power back to Florendale. The journey had tested her in ways she had never imagined, but she had emerged stronger and more determined than ever. With Aryan by her side and the light of the crystal guiding her, she knew she was prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The path to saving her kingdom was clear, and Arwen was ready to fulfill her destiny. With the ancient artifact glowing in her hands, Princess Arwen felt a surge of hope and determination. The path she had traveled had been filled with challenges and revelations, each step bringing her closer to the salvation of her kingdom. As she and Aryan made their way back through the tunnel, the crystal's light illuminating their way, Arwen knew that one final trial awaited her. They emerged from the heart of the mountain into the fresh, cool air of the mountainside. The sky above was a canvas of twilight hues, the setting sun casting a golden glow over the landscape. Arwen took a moment to appreciate the beauty around her, drawing strength from the natural world that she was fighting to protect. The path led them down the mountainside and back into the enchanted forest. The trees, with their ancient wisdom, seemed to welcome her return. The forest had become a familiar friend, its magic a constant presence throughout her journey. Arwen followed the path until she reached a clearing bathed in moonlight, where the whispering lotus awaited her. The lotus flower, radiant and ethereal, greeted her with its soft, melodic voice. "Welcome back, Princess Arwen. You have come far and proven your worth. The artifact you hold is powerful, but its true potential can only be unlocked by solving the final riddle." Arwen knelt before the lotus, her heart steady and her mind clear. "I am ready, whispering lotus. Please tell me the final riddle." The lotus's petals shimmered as it spoke. "Listen closely, princess. The riddle is this. In the light of the moon, where shadows dance, the key to power lies in a single glance. When heart and mind align as one, the ancient magic shall be undone." Arwen repeated the riddle, her thoughts racing to decipher its meaning. She glanced around the clearing, noting how the moonlight cast intricate patterns of light and shadow on the ground. She understood that the riddle spoke of unity, of heart and mind, of light and shadow, and of the balance that lay at the core of all magic. Rising to her feet, Arwen held the crystal artifact up to the moonlight. Its light intensified, casting a radiant glow that mingled with the moon's silver beams. She focused on the harmony between the light and shadow, letting the magic of the moment guide her. Arion, sensing her resolve, stood by her side, his eyes reflecting the same determination. Arwen closed her eyes, centering her thoughts and feelings, allowing her heart and mind to align. She felt the weight of her responsibility, the love for her kingdom, and the strength she had gained from her journey. In that moment of clarity, she understood the true essence of the riddle. Opening her eyes, Arwen spoke with conviction. "In the light of the moon, where shadows dance, I hold the key to power in my hands. With heart and mind as one, I call upon the ancient magic to restore balance and heal my land." The crystal artifact responded to her words, glowing with the brilliant light that filled the clearing. The air hummed with energy, and the ground beneath her feet seemed to vibrate with the power of the magic being unleashed. Arwen felt the warmth of the crystal flow through her, its light enveloping her in a cocoon of pure energy. The whispering lotus's voice echoed softly. "You have unlocked the true power of the artifact, Princess Arwen. With it, you can heal your kingdom and bring hope to your people. Use this gift wisely and remember the lessons you have learned on your journey." Arwen nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude and determination. She turned to Arian, who looked up at her with unwavering loyalty. Together, they began their journey back to the castle, the crystal artifact lighting their way. As they traveled through the forest and fields, Arwen felt a sense of purpose and fulfillment. The land seemed to respond to the presence of the artifact, the air growing fresher and the plants appearing more vibrant. She knew that the true test of her strength and wisdom lay ahead, in using the artifact to heal her kingdom and restore its former glory. When they reached the castle, Arwen found her people gathered in the courtyard, their faces filled with hope and anticipation. She stepped forward, holding the crystal artifact high, its light shining brightly for all to see. "People of Florendale," Arwen called out, her voice strong and clear. "I have returned with the ancient artifact, and with it we shall heal our land and restore our kingdom. Together, we will overcome this darkness and bring prosperity back to Florendale." The crowd erupted in cheers, their hope rekindled by Arwen's words and the light of the artifact. She made her way to the center of the courtyard, where a withered tree stood as a symbol of the blight that had plagued the kingdom. With the crystal in her hands, Arwen focused on the tree, channeling the artifact's power into its roots. The light of the crystal flowed into the tree, and within moments, the withered branches began to bloom with new life. Leaves unfurled, flowers blossomed, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of renewal. The people watched in awe as the tree was transformed, their hearts filled with joy and hope. Arwen knew that this was only the beginning. With the power of the artifact, she would continue to heal the land, restore the crops, and bring peace and prosperity back to Florendale. She had faced her fears, embraced her inner strength, and unlocked the ancient magic that would save her kingdom. As the light of the crystal bathed the courtyard in a warm golden glow, Arwen felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had fulfilled her destiny, and with the support of her people and the magic of the artifact, she would lead Florendale into a new era of hope and prosperity. She and Arian retraced their steps through the tunnel, the radiant crystal casting a warm, reassuring glow. The passage back through the cavern felt different, less daunting and more like a return to a place of triumph. As they emerged from the cavern, the sky above Florendale was streaked with the colors of dusk. The heart of the mountain had been a profound test of Arwen's resolve, but she felt a renewed sense of purpose and hope for her kingdom. She glanced at the crystal in her hand, its light reflecting her own inner strength. The descent from the mountain was swift, and the landscape seemed to welcome their return. The once barren fields of Florendale now showed signs of new growth, the blight beginning to lift. Arwen's heart swelled with hope as she approached her kingdom. As they neared the castle, the gates opened wide, and her people gathered to welcome her back. The faces of her subjects, once weary and filled with despair, now shone with hope and joy. Arwen's father, frail but alive, stood at the forefront of the crowd, his eyes filled with tears of relief and pride. Arwen stepped forward and raised the crystal high. A burst of radiant light erupted from it, spreading over the land. The blight retreated like a dark shadow before the dawn, leaving behind vibrant, flourishing fields and revitalized homes. The air itself seemed to sing with newfound vitality, the essence of the ancient artifact weaving its magic throughout the kingdom. Her people cheered, and Arwen felt a profound sense of fulfillment as she reunited with her father. The long journey had been arduous, but it had brought her to a place where she could make a difference. With the ancient artifact now safely in her possession, Arwen knew that Florindale's future was bright. In the days that followed, Arwen used the artifact's power to heal her land, restoring its prosperity and ensuring a thriving future for her people. The lessons learned from her trials, the whispering wind, the bridge of dreams, and the cave of reflections, had shaped her into a leader who was both compassionate and strong. The kingdom of Florindale entered a new era of peace and growth, and Arwen became a symbol of hope and resilience. The trials had tested her, but they had also forged a deep connection between her and her people. As she looked out over the flourishing fields and vibrant city, Arwen knew that the journey had not only saved her kingdom, but had also transformed her into the leader she was destined to be. The ancient artifact, now enshrined in the castle as a symbol of their unity and strength, stood as a reminder of the power of courage, wisdom, and hope. Arwen's story became a legend, a tale of bravery and love that inspired generations to come.